Happy Monday, January 25th, 2021. Our learning objectives for today. I can analyze patterns using tables and graphs. Let's have a positive attitude. And as always, choose kindness. Our agenda for today. Hopefully you've already completed the daily review 3.5. You spent some time in Success Maker until everyone was done. We are then going to go ahead and start lesson 4.2, analyzing patterns in tables and graphs. Your homework tonight will be Math Excel 4-2. If you have any questions, again, as always, make sure you're reaching out to your math teacher, or for my students in class, let me know the next day if you have any questions. Let's go ahead and get started. You should be in your lesson 4.2 guided notes. We're under part 1. It says when you have a problem with two variables, you can organize the variables in a table, just like you see here. Suppose your friend is 2 years older than you. A table is one way to record the ages of different points. So what we can do here is we can create this table. We can make it into a graph, and that's what we're going to be doing today. We can also create an equation. We have a couple of different things that are important here. You can change your age into a variable. Let's say we make that the X variable, and your friend's age is Y. You can label those as X and Y. Your age, the first one over here, is almost always your independent variable. And the second one on the right-hand side is almost always your dependent variable. Okay. Why don't you give it a try and see if you can write an equation for this scenario. All right, if you came up with the equation X over here, or your age, plus 2 equals Y, then you are correct. Okay, the reason why we would write this equation based off this information here is, what if your friend is 72 years old? Okay, do we want to keep going by 5s and then go by 1s? No, that would take way too long. So we put it into an equation. We would plug in 72 plus 2. That equals Y, which is 74. Your friend's age would be 74. So it's just an easier way to get to your answers or solve other than using just a table. All right, in our next little section here, it says drag the shapes and form the fourth figure in the pattern. Then move to the next screen to complete the table. So what I would like for you to do on your guided notes is to draw the figure 4 in the space provided. And then you will go ahead and fill in, give the answer there, and fill in the table that goes with each number of squares, the number of circles in the table provided. All right, this is the screen I was on, and the reason why I got off right away was because figure 4 is right here. All right, so now we can go ahead and we have all these figures. We can go ahead and put this information into a table. So if there was 1 circle, we count up there are 8 squares. If there are 2 circles, there are 10. If there are 3, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12. 4, we have 14, 16, 18. Our pattern here is that we are adding 2 each time that we add a circle. All right, that it goes for that section. Let's go ahead and move on to the next. Okay, our next section here is under the key concept. You can see this in your guided notes. What we're going to do now is this video is going to explain how you can relate a table into a graph.
You can use tables and graphs to analyze patterns. Both tables and graphs will help you see how a change in the independent variable affects the dependent variable. After 1 hour, the plane traveled 500 miles. Plot this point on the graph. After 2 hours, the plane traveled 1,000 miles. Plot this point on the graph. Similarly, plot the remaining values in the table as points on the graph.
All right, so some of the information we can take from this is when we have a table here, it is almost, like I said earlier, always that this is going to be, you can put this as X, and it'll be your independent variable. And your independent variable almost always is on the X-axis. And this would be your Y-axis, and that is almost always your dependent variable. And then just like we used to graph, this is right here, the ordered pair is 1, 500. This is 2, 1,000. And so on. You graph your X first, comma, then Y. Remember, this is your X-axis, this is your Y-axis. So that's how we can create or use a table and make it into a graph. Okay, moving on to now to part 2. We are going to take, now you are actually going to look at a table and create a graph. So it says, in the first 8 weeks of its life, a large breed dog gains 1 kilogram every 2 weeks. Use the table to graph the relationship between weeks and kilograms. One thing I want you to notice before you start graphing this is that the weeks are on the X-axis and your kilograms are on the Y-axis. So at this time, why don't you go ahead and see if you can graph this on your guided notes in the area provided. All right, here's what your graph should look like. You notice on the X-axis, we have weeks. On the X, this is your weeks. The Y-axis, this is your kilograms. So on week 2, we had, well, there was the dog weighed 1 kilogram. On week 4, the dog weighed 2 kilograms. On week 6, the dog weighed 3 kilograms. 8 weeks, 4 kilograms. So your graph should, if you were connecting the dots, it would be a straight line. Now let's see if you can do another one on your own. You have the X and the Y. They did not give a representation. They're saying this is the X, hint is the X-axis, this is Y, the Y-axis. So again, go ahead and graph this on the area provided in your guided notes. All right, this is what your graph should look like. Here's your table, and this would be all the points plotted. Again, you can have 0, X be 0, and Y be 4. We're on the Y-axis. And again, our points are going to go in a straight line connected there. All right, hopefully you're doing all right with these graphs and you're showing your work in your guided notes. We have a couple more sections to go here. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to 4.2, part 4 of your guided notes. And there's a little video that goes along with it. Not much of a video, but a little bit counts. A landscape architect is designing a greenway. The design calls for 620 trees on every acre of the greenway. Complete the table, then graph the relationship between the acres and the number of trees. So we need to complete this table. If you go back, it says that their design calls for 620 trees on every acre. See if you can find the rest of the number of trees here. And then with that information, you can go ahead and graph it. Again, if you look here, you have your acres on the x-axis, the number of trees on the y-axis. So go ahead and complete the table and graph those that information from the table into the graph. All right, let's go ahead and go over our answer. To find the rest of these, each acre is 620. So if I take the number of acres and multiply it by 620, you get the number of trees. This one should be 9,300. 20 times 620 should give us 12,400. And then 25 times 620 gives us an answer of 15,500. Then we go ahead and graph these. The first one is 0 and 0. If we have 0 acres, we have 0 trees. If we have 5 acres, we have 3,100. Now, how do we find that here? This is 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, 8,000. So each line is worth 2,000. So I'm going to estimate this to about right here. Doesn't have to be perfect. 5, then 10 is 6,000. Again, 2,000, 6,000, a little above that line. 15,000 is 9,000. So 10, about right here. 20 is 12,400. Somewhere around here. And then 25 would be up here, 15,000. So that's what your graph should look like. Those dots should go in a straight line. And the last thing I want you to do is go ahead and do the same thing as you did there in the last one. Just try this one on your own, working through that problem. And here's a little video that goes with it. I'm sure it's going to be delightful. Beautiful. All right, go ahead, and I want you to fill out the table and then graph that information. Okay, so the tree, there are 12, it goes 12 feet each year. So 1 year, 12 feet, 2 years, 24. It means we're multiplying it by 12. Okay, we should get 36. 4 times 12 is 48. And then 5 times 12 is 60. Here is our amount of years. This is our feet. The years are the x-axis. So I go to year 0, 0. First year, it's no height. Year 1 is 12. If you look here, this is 15, 30, 45, 60. So year 1, 12 is going to be really close to that line right there. 2 is 24, so we should be somewhere right here. 3 is 36, so here. 4 is 48, so again, somewhere right here. Then 5 is 60. Your graph should look something like this. Your dots are going up as we go to the right. All right, hopefully you got a good understanding of how to take look at patterns inside of tables and graphs, taking information from a table and graphing it. Again, make sure you're reaching out to your teacher if you have any questions, and my students ask me questions when I return. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and you can go ahead and get started on that 4-2 homework.